Food is an integral part of every culture. How it's found, how it's produced, how it's prepared, how it's eaten, enjoyed, how it's celebrated. So food is the perfect way to understand a culture, especially here in the outback of Australia. Got any kangaroo? No kidding. Here we go. We all have a list of places we've always wanted to go, like the Outback. I mean, ever since I was a kid and saw my first picture of a kangaroo, I've always imagined this as a place of exotic animals and larger-than-life people. And now I'm here. But as a chef, I've come to explore the link between food and culture, between the ancient Aboriginal traditions of this area and the more recent European ones. And I'm wondering, how do you cook a kangaroo anyway? Aboriginal chef Mark Olive is a living link to the ancient traditions of Australia. Mark.
Michael, g'day, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you. We're deep in the Northern Territory, heading into the lands of the Jawoyn people, one of the many indigenous cultures within this country. This is sacred land, and we're invited guests. Howdy.
Welcome to Jawoyn country.
Ryan Barroway and Aunt Millie are Jawoyn elders and welcome us traditionally with sacred river water. By accepting their welcome, we acknowledge that we're guests on their ancestral lands.
Okay, you two are welcome to Jawoyn country.
Yeah.
To our register.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sort of like a supermarket. Jawoyn people come through and they're feeling they want to eat something and they recognize bush tucker that's around.
Ryan is closely connected to the many traditions of the land around him. To him, the Outback is just his backyard, which makes it a great place to forage for food. This is about as hot as I've ever been in my life out here, I gotta tell you. How would the Jawoyn deal with the heat?
But most of the time, gathering food would be early in the morning, so like cooler times. This is the spear grass. It holds water. It's sort of like a sugar cane. As you're walking along, you just bite on this, and then you suck the juice out.
It's tough, but there's a sweet sort of juice in there.
Yep.
That really is good. We going across?
Yep.
It's nice and cool.
I wouldn't mind just staying in here for a while.
You're hearing me.
Maybe go for a swim. Over time, the Jawoyn learned how to benefit from the plants around them, even the poisonous ones.
You can see that vine.
Yeah,
the
there's
vine.
another one right here.
That's
which
the
is really...
native chicky yam. It's got lots of toxic in it.
It's a root that's cooked and eaten just like a potato, once it's given a good wash.
The process is to put it in string bag, leave it into a running stream, and then it actually filters all the toxins out.
Once you flush these toxins out, it's fine.
You know, as you talk about this, what it would take to put this in the water and rinse it for a week and all that sort of thing, I mean, you can really see why that tradition needs to be held on to, really. I mean, it needs to be passed down orally. It's not the kind of thing that, you know, I wouldn't know where to go look this up.
All that knowledge has been passed down, and we know what to look for when we're out in the country.
We're going to put this back in the ground because we're not going to use it, obviously.
I guess when we came out for a walk, it sort of, for me, it was like, oh, you know, let's go see what we can find. This is interesting. I've come to Australia. But I guess what I didn't expect to find was the deep connection. Things like this are at risk of disappearing. So is it a challenge to keep this alive?
It is a challenge, but we do our best to get the children to understand that, you know, the land is important, and if we help look after it, it'll always be there for the next generation as well.
Ryan has invited us to visit a truly sacred site deep within the Jawoyn lands.
Now that the river is up, then safe and best way to go with the helicopter.
To me, this country seems remote and inaccessible. We're in an area larger than Switzerland. But for thousands of years, the Jawoyn people survived and thrived here. In fact, their ancestors left behind remarkable evidence of how they once lived. No kidding. Look at that.
There's some paintings of animals and fish that Jawoyn people catch around this area. Come around over here and see that goanna. It's like a lizard. So you can make out his head up there.
Sure.
The picture tells a story for itself, but a whole group of families came through here. Jawoyn men would hunt the biggest kangaroo and would share it amongst the families. It's a story to them, so put up his picture or painting of a kangaroo up there, and it'll remind them this is his kangaroo that day.
How old are these?
These other signs with the red ochre dated back 20,000 years.
20,000 years.
Ryan, these are really interesting characters here too.
It's a wallaby. There's the head, the ears, the big legs.
It's a catfish.
A catfish of sorts. Would it be okay if I took a photograph here?
Yes.
I'd love to remember some of this when I get home.
Everything was used. Nothing was wasted. It was a food source. It was a clothing source. The sinews in the kangaroo is so strong, you can actually sew things together.
It's kind of disingenuous from a modern Western perspective to say, oh no, you can't eat that. That's that little kangaroo I see in my comic book.
Like a menu board.
It's like a menu board. Yeah, it sure is. So the next people that arrive would sort of know that here's what you can expect to find here.
Around this area here.
Let me see if I got all this straight. First you throw the gum leaf in, then you spin the billy, then you let it tickle, then you make the dam. In the Australian outback exploring Aboriginal food traditions. Many have been lost, but many remain alive in individuals like Jawoyn elder Ryan Barroway and Chef Mark Olive, who's taking me to see another side of outback life. So where are we headed?
Well, what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of the recent history of Australia.
For thousands of years, the Aboriginals had this land to themselves. Then, the Europeans arrived with new ingredients and new cooking methods. Hey there.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. Michael.
I'm Marksy.
Jeff Marksy, represents another Australian tradition, the stockman, the outback cowboy.
You guys just travelled. Would you like a gum leaf billy tea?
Yeah, I'd love a cuppa.
We've got the billy boiling.
Gum leaf billy tea?
That's what it is, and it's very popular here in Australia. One leaf, I'm going to spin it 3 times. And I really think the secret to a good gum leaf billy tea is to actually tickle it up. Another couple of minutes, so what do you think?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
but I'm sure it'll taste good.
Okay, well, let's try it. There's our billy.
So the billy is the pot?
It is the pot.
Okay.
Everything is going to be...
I'm starting to catch on.
Okay, it's going to be all done in this pot. Well, being an NT stockman's camp, they always had the billy boiling.
So that's the tea. That's just
the tea. And you can see it's a very, very fine Allenbank tea, and it's got a nice fragrance in itself. There's the tea, there's the leaf, can't get it through. So the real trick is to spin it 3 times. Okay. Why 3? 2's not enough, 4's too many. So 3's ideal.
Spin the billy.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
All right, now I get it. So
Okay.
Centripetal force. You just drove the tea right to the bottom.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Got it.
Let's see if it's happened. And it has.
I don't see the eucalyptus leaf anymore. What do you think? What if we spin the billy maybe once or twice more? You think it'll still taste good?
I think you need to go
here we go.
quick.
That's it. Well
There we
done.
go. Okay.
Oh,
Spin the
honours
billy.
swing. Well, that's great. There's a lot of Australians that have a great deal of difficulty spinning the billy, so it's an art form here.
So do we taste the eucalyptus here?
You can get that mentholy flavour
Yeah,
through there.
yeah, totally.
And we're going to cook a roast wattle seed damper with a cheese top. So what do you think?
Roast wattle seed damper.
A damper is a bush bread with no preservatives. 6 cups of self-raising flour.
This one's got some baking powder in it.
Yeah, but I put a little bit more in because I like mine a bit fluffy.
Okay.
A little bit of salt. Our secret ingredient is the roast wattle seed.
You roast it up in an oven, you grind it down in mortar and pestle, and what do you think it smells like?
It smells like coffee.
So we'll give it a good liberal slug, hey? There's our wattle seed. Here we go.
So just enough liquid to bring the flour together, to bring the dry ingredients together.
Pour it in, like so. You're going to have a nice cheese top that's going to go brown. Put it in the camp oven, like so. Straight over to the coals. A real lot on the top. So in about 50 minutes' time, we'll have a look and I'll give it a tap and we'll see how close we are to getting it done.
Now, are you burning any particular kind of wood here?
I do. I actually got a lady from Rocky Ridge, an Aboriginal lady, to come over and help me and said, I've got all this wood, you know, I need to know what's going to give me the best coals. I learnt that white gum was the best.
I find that fascinating that you would have gone to an Aboriginal person to get that knowledge about the woods, the local woods, and which wood works best for which thing. And there's a lot of knowledge, really, that's held there.
I have learnt so much from the local people here. I would never be able to pay them back, you know.
Michael, do you see what we have here? This is kangaroo fillets.
Ah, look at that. So it's a dark meat. I never really thought of a kangaroo as something to eat.
They're yummy.
Beautiful meat.
Sure. This is quite a rig.
It is. You actually angle it, and you can move this onto the fire. Once it's cooked, you can take all your food off it. If I'm going to put a little bit of oil there, an extra virgin olive oil, we'll do 3 of these fillets so you can have a taste. I've actually got some marinated root fillet as well. Because as Mark said, this is the best way to eat it, just sear it. So there's your 3 fillets there.
There's a bit of that.
This is tasty. Oh, it's perfectly cooked. It's tender. It reminds me venison.
Okay, all ready for some damper?
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's have a look. Oh, looks
that.
good.
Beautiful.
Got that good sound to it too.
That's it, the hollow sound. That's what we're after.
I got to get a picture of this for the collection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's a beautiful pan.
That's a great idea.
I love cooking over fire.
Oh, all that lovely cheese.
Let's eat.
Let's
You're
eat.
making me hungry.
Okay. And the same, Michael.
Thank
as
you.
well. As I say, it's very popular here.
Roast wattle seed damper.
Yep.
Welcome to Australia.